Alright. He knew which was... Well, this is part 2 of chapter, I believe, 13? Yeah, 13. He knew which was the right tree at once, partly because it stood in the very center, and partly because it was the great silver apples with which it was loaded shone so, and cast a light of their own down on the shadowy places where the sunlight did not reach. He walked straight across to it, picked an apple, and put it in the breast of his pocket. In the breast of his pocket of his Norfolk jacket. But he couldn't help looking at it and smelling it before he put it away. It would have been better if he had not. A terrible thirst and hunger came over him, and a longing to taste the fruit. He put it hastily into his pocket, but there were plenty of others. Could it not be wrong to taste one? After all, he thought, the notice on the gate might not have... This is the tree, the light, the apple he picked, and a bird in the rafters, probably looking down on him, making sure that he doesn't do anything he's not supposed to. Which, I mean, the minute you see the bird, or even if you don't see the bird, there's probably something watching you to make sure that you don't do anything you're not supposed to. He might not have been exactly on order. Ow. Anyway, an order, it might have been only a piece of advice. And who cares about advice? Well, I care about advice. Sorry, I have a painful hand right now, and it is hard to turn the pages. And who cares about advice? Or even if it were an order, would he be disobeying it by eating an apple? He had already obeyed the part about taking one for others. While he was thinking all this, he happened to look up through the branches toward the top of the tree. There on a branch above his head, a wonderful bird was roosting. I say roosting because it seemed almost asleep. Perhaps not quite. The tiniest slit of one eye was open. It was larger than an eagle. Its breast saffron, its head crested with scarlet, and its tail purple. And it just shows, said Diggory afterward, when he was telling the story to the others, that you can't be too careful in these magical places. You never know what may be watching you. But I think Diggory would not have taken an apple for himself in any case. Things like do not steal were, I think, hammered into boys' heads a good deal harder in those days than they are now. Still, we can never be too certain. Diggory just turning to go back and to the gates when he stopped to have one last look around. He got a terrible shock. He was not alone. There were only a few yards away from him stood the witch. She was just throwing away the core of an apple which she had eaten. The juice was darker than you would expect it, and had made a horrid stain round her mouth. Diggory guessed at once that she must have climbed over the wall. And he began to see that there might be some sense in that last line about getting your heart's desire and getting to spare along with it, for the witch looked stronger and prouder than ever, and even in a way triumphant. But her face was deadly white as salt. All this flashed through Diggory's mind in a second, and then He took it to his heels and ran for the gates as hard as he could pelt. The witch after him. As soon as he was out, the gates closed behind him of their own accord, and gave him the lead, but not for long. By the time he had reached the others and was shouting out, "Quick, get on, Polly! Get up, Fledge!" The witch had climbed the wall and vaulted over it, and was close behind him. "Stay where you are," cried Diggory, turning round to face her, "or we'll all vanish. Don't come near an inch nearer." "Foolish boy," said the witch. "Why do you run from me? I mean you no harm. If you do not stop and listen to me now, you will miss some knowledge that would have made you happy all your life." "Well, I don't want to hear it." "Thanks," said Diggory, but he did. "I know what errand you have come on," continued the witch, "for it was I who was close beside you in the woods last night, and heard all your counsels. You have plucked fruit in your garden yonder. You have it in your pocket now, and you are going to carry it back, untasted, to the lion, for him to eat, and for him to use. You simpleton! Do you not know what that fruit is? I will tell you. It is the fruit. It is the apple of youth, the apple of life. I know, for I have tasted it, and I feel already such changes in myself that I know I shall never grow old or die. Eat it, boy. Eat it, and you and I will both live forever and be king and queen of this whole world, or of your world, if you decide to go back there." "No thanks," said Diggory. I don't know that I care much about living on and on for after everyone I know is dead. I'd rather live an ordinary time and die and go to heaven. But what about this mother of yours, whom you pretend to love so much?" "What's she got to do with it?" said Diggory. "Do you not see, fool? That's one bite of the apple would heal her. You have it in your pocket. We are here by ourselves, and the lion is far away. Use your magic and go back to your own world. A minute later, you can be at your mother's bedside giving her the fruit. 5 minutes later, you will see the color coming back to her face. She will tell you the pain is gone. Soon, she will tell you she feels stronger. Then she will fall asleep. Think about that. Hours of sweet, natural sleep, without pain, without drugs. Next day, everyone will be saying how wonderfully she has recovered. Soon, she will be quite well again. All will be well again. Your home will be happy again. You will be like the other boys." "Oh," gasped Diggory, as if he had been hurt, and put his hand over his head, for he knew that the most terrible choice lay before him. "What has that lion ever done for you that you should be his slave?" said the witch. "What can he do to you once you are back in his world? And what would your mother think if she knew you could have taken her pain away and given her back her life and saved your father's heart from being broken, and that you wouldn't? That you'd rather run messages for a wild animal in a strange world that is no business of yours. I I don't think he is a wild animal, said Diggory in a dried-up sort of voice. He is, I don't know. Then he is something worse, said the witch. Look what he has done to you already. Look how heartless he has made you. That is what he does to everyone who listens to him. Cruel, pitiless boy. You could let your own mother die rather than... Oh, shut up, said the miserable Diggory, still in the same voice. Do you think I don't see? But I promise. I promised. But you didn't know what you were promising. And no one here can prevent you. Mother herself, said Diggory, getting the words out with difficulty, wouldn't like it. Awfully strict about keeping promises and not stealing and all that sort of thing. She'd tell me not to do it, quick as anything, if she were here. But she'd never know, said the witch, speaking more sweetly than you would have thought anyone with so fierce a face could speak. You wouldn't tell her how you'd got the apple. Your father need never know. No one in your world need know anything about this whole story. You needn't take the little girl back with you, you know. That was where the witch made her fatal mistake. Of course, Diggory knew that Polly could get away by her own ring as easily as he could get away by his, but apparently the witch didn't know this. And the meanness of the suggestion that he should leave Polly behind suddenly made all the other things the witch had been saying to him sound false and hollow. And even in the midst of all his misery, his head suddenly cleared. And he said in a different, much louder voice, "Look here! Where do you come into all of this? Why are you so precious fond of my mother, all of a sudden? What's it got to do with you? What's your game?" "Good for you, Diggs," whispered Polly in his ear. "Quick, now get away! Now!" She hadn't dared to say anything all through this argument, because, you see, it wasn't her mother who was dying. "Up then," said Diggory, heaving her onto Fledge's back, and then scrambling up as quickly as he could. The horse spread its wings. "Go then, fools," called the witch. "Think of me, boy. When you lie old and weak and dying, and remember how you threw away the chance of endless youth, it won't be offered again. Not to you." They were already so high that they could only just hear, nor did the witch waste any time gazing up at them. They saw her set off northwards to the steep slope of the hill. They had started early that morning, and what happened in the garden had not taken very long, so that Fledge and Polly both said they would easily get back to Narnia before nightfall. Diggory never spoke on the way back, and the others were shy of speaking to him. He was very sad, and he wasn't even sure all the time that he had done the right thing. But whenever he remembered the shining tears in Aslan's eyes, he became sure. All day, Fledge flew steadily with untiring wings, eastward with the river to guide him, through the mountains and over the wild wooded hills, and then over the great waterfall and down to where the woods of Narnia were darkened by the shadow of the mighty cliff, till at last, when the sky was growing red with the sunset behind them, He saw a place where many creatures were gathered together by the riverside, and soon he could see Aslan himself in the midst of them. Pledge glided down, spread out his 4 legs, closed his wings, and landed cantering. Then he pulled up. The children dismounted. Diggory saw all the animals, dwarves, satyrs, nymphs, and other things drawing back to the left and right to make way for him. He walked up to Aslan and handed him the apple and said, "I've brought you the apple you wanted, sir." And then the next chapter is chapter 14, the planting of the tree, which we will not get to tonight. So, night-night.